Alright, welcome back to Haunting Ground. I'm getting deja vu. I feel like we just opened the last video in this room too. So we are going to wrap up this part of the game now. We have everything that we need to kind of get out of this area. This, what I'm about to do right now, is something that we could have done instantly. I don't think it's a good idea to do it as soon as you get down here. But, really, it's personal choice, I suppose. We're gonna just want to wait for Huey to get over to us. Because we do need him.
Come on.
I was trying to use the technique that I was talking about before, where sometimes I feel like if you go in between an area transition, Huey will just kind of follow you.
Go, Huey.
His AI will just kind of reset and go to where you are. It doesn't work all the times, but sometimes it does. So send him in that little gated off area, and you got yourself a stew. Got a new item. Huey, can you... Thank you. Eventually I'll show off what those do. Again, there's a crafting mechanic in this game that I don't love. It's not really required.
Good boy.
I still, from what I've recorded, I still have not shown it off yet. And again, I maybe won't. It's just not, it's not very good. The crafting mechanic's very confusing. Oh yeah, so this area you can go to basically as soon as you enter this area the first time. But the thing that we have to do here will immediately alert Debilitas to our position. So I would prefer to do it last. I could even see maybe... I don't know, I've never tried it. I've never tried coming up here while he's already chasing you. I wonder if that would do anything at all. So what we've got here is this machine. Just kick it thrice, and it will activate. I like this part. I don't know why. I like that you can see him kind of running up there before before he jumps down. I think that's just pretty cool. Nice little detail. I also love that Fiona's first thought is to just start kicking that thing. She didn't even try and move the lever. So, if I'm not mistaken, right now I'm going to try and show off another hidden cutscene involving Debilitas. While we still have him at our disposal, I would like to show this off. So I'm going to kind of wait for him. I'm going to kind of keep baiting him into following me, just so he doesn't, you know, lose where we are. And goddamn, dude, please. You could have just jumped down there, I think. You didn't need to climb down there. I feel like he keeps speeding up. Also, I think he lost me already. I don't know what's going on. There he is. He was slowing down. I mean, he's not exactly, you know, he's kind of already slow. I was thinking about this. Debilitas is basically... He's basically just Ted from Dead Rising 2. Just no tiger. He's missing the tiger. They basically reused Debilitas' like exact design and character for Ted in another game. It's pretty wild. So we're gonna lure him all the way to the room where we got the cutscene with the piano before, like in the very beginning of the game. Because there's something very useful in there. Not only will this allow us to show off a cutscene, it also gets him off of our back for quite a while. So just head behind this bookcase, So the big lug is gonna kind of just be stuck underneath that bookcase for quite a while. So we should have plenty of time to just kind of do what we need to do. And what we need to do right now is talk about Fiona's boobs and her jiggle physics. Now, I know some people have complained that this game feels kind of overly sexualizing of Fiona, but I'm gonna give the developers the benefit of the doubt that they did it on purpose for not, like, you know, weird reasons.
Come on.
As in, they didn't do it just to be like, ooh, let's just make Fiona's boobs jiggle. The story is basically about Fiona being sexualized by the stalkers. There's kind of a weird sexual thing, I think, to it with Debilitas. Maybe I'm reading a little bit into it, but that feels like a pretty common fear. Putting yourself into the shoes of, like, a woman playing this game. Like a big, brute guy trying to hold you. Just feels like kind of a, you know, a thing. A lot of the other characters sexualize you. The fact that there's like a fixed camera angle in this game feels like you're like looking in on her. Like you're a voyeur looking in on Fiona. So I think it could be some kind of, it could be kind of playing along with it. If it's just in there just to be fan service, like, I'm not gonna complain. But I can see why people would. But I don't think it's quite that. I think it's part of the story, at least in some small way. The bonus costumes, however, there's really no excuse for that. those are just sexualizing her completely. So this area, I've never seen Debilitas come in, but I think he can. What we have here in front of us is a classic block-pushing puzzle. This part is pretty annoying, but, you know, once you know the solution, you're fine. Like, I'm never gonna not know what to do in here. If you do fuck up, all you have to do is leave this room, come right back in, everything will reset, which is one of the most nice things about this, this game. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like this game so much. Going back to the, like, sexualization of Fiona. I mean, not exactly. Don't take that out of context. I like that there's no combat in this game. I like that you feel very, helpless. I don't mean to say it like the way this is gonna sound, but like Fiona can't take care of herself, you know. It feels like if you were to put a guy in this situation, he's probably still not really gonna be able to defend himself, but he'll at least be able to, kind of. But Fiona's just like a tiny little girl. You know, she has a very weak kick. That's about it. I think it kind of helps you put yourself in the shoes of, like, someone who isn't exactly the most, like, capable. And it kind of makes the game a little bit scarier, at least in my opinion. I know this sounds bad, but I don't mean it the way that it's gonna sound. You know, and games like this are still being made where there's no combat and you kind of have to hide from, you know, stalkers. Games like Outlast. But Outlast, in my opinion, stinks on ice. I don't think that is interesting at all. I think this game is the best game to ever do it. It's never going to be done quite as good as this ever again. And basically, why are people even trying? Again, the only company that's come close to it is Capcom with Resident Evil 7. And even then, like, there's combat in that game. There's maybe one section in that entire game where you can't fight Jack. And that's probably the best section of the game, honestly. I just wish they didn't give Ethan a gun so quickly into that game. So I forgot to push this one in here. As soon as I pushed that last one, I was like, why didn't anything activate? And I completely forgot that I didn't do this one yet. But anyway, I will be starting up a TED Talk on Fiona's boobs, so please join me for that. You know, something else I would like to talk about is the rarity of this game. There are two games that are pretty notorious on PlayStation 2 for being kind of survival horror games that are very rare. Rule of Rose, I think, has kind of got the reputation for being the much more rare one, but I think Haunting Ground's more rare. Rule of Rose is certainly more expensive, but I think Haunting Ground should be. I went to Too Many Games a couple times now. The last one was in 2019. And in 2019, I saw upwards, probably more than 10 copies of Rule of Rose at one convention. Sometimes one seller would have multiple copies of Rule of Rose. I have never once, not once, seen a copy of Haunting Ground in the wild. I have never, ever, ever seen someone selling a copy of Haunting Ground. Rule of Rose, like I said, I've seen upwards of like 10 to 15 of. So I think Haunting Grounds, in my limited experience, I've seen in person more copies of Rule of Rose than Haunting Ground. And yet, Rule of Rose is more expensive. I guess it's supply and demand. If people want to pay that much for it, they'll charge for it, but I don't know. I just personally think Haunting Ground is probably a little bit more rare. And I still am, like, giddy that I picked this game up more than 10 years ago for $60. $60 I paid for this game. I paid retail for this video game. If you go on eBay right now, it's like $200. That's insane. So I'm very privileged and very lucky to have picked this game up when I did, and for as cheap as I did. So this area has a bit of a puzzle in it that is... It could go either way, really. I've never had an issue with it, but I could see where this could go horribly awry. So if you read this little plaque here, you get kind of a hint as to what is going on in this area. So this next room is basically one big dark room where you can't see most of the floor. As you could imagine, if you were to just wander out into there, you're probably going to fall. If you send Huey out, he will find the exact path that you need to take. And what you need to do is follow him, like, exactly. I think sometimes he just wanders out. Like, right now, I think he's just kind of wandering. I don't think you want to follow him there. You want to wait until he really looks like he knows what he's doing, like right now. I would assume Huey does not fall down this pit. So if he's just wandering around, you probably don't want to follow him.
Go, Huey.
Now, I'm not exactly sure if you can not use Huey and just kind of intuit where they are from, like, previous playthroughs. Like, if I knew it was to the right and then to the left, I don't know if I could just breeze through or if it's random. I feel like it might be random. Or alternatively, I don't know if you could just turn the brightness up and see if you see a path yourself. I'm honestly not sure. So we have finally made it to the church. Lorenzo told us about this church in that note that he passed us through the wall. And he seems to think that there's something in here that would help us get out. So, we should probably go grab that. So just examine the statue up here, read some nonsense, and then grab whatever this area has to offer. And then it's smooth sailing from here on out. Of course, she has to just stick her chest right in front of the camera to do that. So this is the end of the road. We have to deal with Debilitas. There are two ways to do this fight. If you want to get the best ending in the game, you want to fight him the way that I'm fighting him. Basically, there are two winches on both sides of the room. They are holding up a chandelier. You want to either bait him into hitting them himself, which takes way less time, but he was not having any of that today. Or you can kick them yourself, which is basically what I'm going to have to end up doing. It's going to take way longer, but what you really want to do is stand in front of it, kind of to the side, and then press the R1 button right as he's about to hit you, which will allow you to do the back step move. And then he'll just kind of bash into it, which is usually how you want to do it. Or bait him into slapping you, and then also doing the back step move, which will allow him to break the winches. But he really, honest to God, was not having it. I've had this fight go incredibly smoothly most times that I play this. This was just turning out very, very poorly. But you know what? For a Let's Play, maybe it's more interesting to have it go unsmoothly. He's gonna start charging you when he does the Fiona, and he starts slapping himself on the head. That's when he's gonna do that charge attack, which is absolutely his worst attack. I don't think we really have a whole ton of like items that we can use anymore. I'm using most of them up. So we're gonna wanna try and get him here, but no, it didn't quite work. And I also didn't get hit, so I got kind of lucky there. Yeah, I wish that Fiona had a little bit better of an attack there.
okay, Huey. He can't come after us anymore. Good boy. Calm down, Huey. It's over. It's okay, Huey. It's okay.
Well, what do you know? The big lug was just kind of a softie all along. He, I guess, views Fiona as some sort of like a goddess or something
boy.
now. So he's not really interested in hurting us. Which is nice. We officially now are done with Debilitas. That is it for him. He is no longer going to be a thorn in our side. Now, we're going to want to do the same thing that we did on the way in, on the way out with this room. Even though I personally believe that after you fight Debilitas, the lights should come up entirely in this room. That's just what I believe. It's just kind of tedious having to do this twice in a row. Especially after a boss battle. Could you imagine falling down the hole here after fighting Debilitas? That would be rough. Like rough, like a dog barking. Because there's a dog in this game. Do you understand? Do you see? So, let's praise Huey. I meant to pet him, not yell in his face, but there you go. Good boy. So that is the end of this video. Join me next time where we find out what new horrors await us in this post-Debilitas game. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.